welcome back to our deep dive into Alexander the Great. Now, history remembers Alexander as a military genius, and perhaps he was. But even geniuses, even they require their tools. See, a master swordsman is still limited by the quality of his blade. A great king is still limited by the strength of his army. And before Alexander ever led a campaign, Philip II was forging the finest military instrument the ancient world had ever seen. Now, to understand how revolutionary Philip's army truly was, we first need to understand the armies that came before it. For centuries, warfare in Greece had been dominated by the hoplite, citizen soldiers, farmers, merchants, craftsmen, ordinary men who became warriors when their city called. They fought shoulder to shoulder in tightly packed formations called phalanxes. Each man would carry a large shield, a spear roughly 2 meters long, and enough armor to survive the brutal collisions that defined ancient battles. When two hoplite armies met, the result was often straightforward. Two walls of bronze slammed into one another. The stronger formation prevailed. The weaker broke. The battle ended. It was a system that had dominated Greek warfare for generations. And like many successful systems, it became tradition. People stopped asking whether it could be improved. They simply accepted it. But Philip was not someone interested in tradition. He was interested in victory. And victory often belongs to those willing to challenge convention. Somewhere during his years of study and observation, Philip began to ask a dangerous question. What if the hoplite phalanx could be made better? What if it could reach further, push harder, hit first? What if it could dominate every traditional army it encountered? That answer would change military history. See, Philip's solution was deceptively simple. Make the spear longer, much longer. The traditional Greek spear had measured roughly 7 to 9 feet. Philip's new weapon would eventually reach lengths of 16, 18, even 20 feet or more. This weapon became known as the sarissa, and it transformed the battlefield. Imagine, if you will, standing across from a traditional hoplite formation. You grip your shield. You lower your spear. You prepare for impact. Then you realize something horrifying. The enemy can strike you long before you can strike them. Not by inches, no, by entire body lengths. Rows of spear points projected towards you like a moving forest. The first rank threatens you. The second rank threatens you. Even the third and fourth ranks may threaten you. Advancing against such a formation required extraordinary courage, or an act of desperation. But the sarissa alone was not enough. No, see, Philip changed the formation itself. Traditional Greek armies often fought 8 ranks deep, sometimes more, sometimes less. Philip pushed depth to new extremes. His soldiers packed tightly together. Discipline became essential. Every movement synchronized, every step coordinated. The individual mattered less, the formation mattered more. Together, they became a living weapon, a machine of flesh, wood, and iron. Yet the true brilliance of Philip's system was not the phalanx itself, it was what surrounded it. Many armies throughout history have relied on a single strength: heavy cavalry, elite infantry, archers, war elephants. But Philip understood something revolutionary. No single weapon wins every battle. Flexibility wins battles. Adaptability wins wars. So he built something the ancient world rarely saw: a complete military system. The pike phalanx formed the center, the anvil, the force that pinned enemies in place. But elsewhere on the battlefield, other forces waited: light infantry, skirmishers, specialists, all designed to support the larger machine. And then there was the most dangerous element of all: the companion cavalry. The companion cavalry represented the Macedonian elite. Noble warriors mounted on powerful horses, aggressive, disciplined, highly trained. If the phalanx held the enemy in place, the cavalry delivered the killing blow. While opponents struggled against a wall of sarissas, mounted warriors attacked vulnerable flanks. A battle became a trap, and once trapped, few armies escaped. This combination of forces created something unprecedented: an army capable of adapting to nearly any battlefield: mountain terrain, open plains, defensive warfare, offensive warfare, sieges, field battles. Philip prepared for all of it. He understood that warfare was changing, and Macedonia would lead that change. The results were immediate. Enemies who once threatened Macedonia found themselves overwhelmed. Victories accumulated, territories expanded, resources flowed into the kingdom. Every success strengthened the army, every campaign refined the system, every battle made Macedonia more dangerous. Soon, the neighboring powers, they began to take notice. See, the Greeks who once dismissed Macedonia as backwards now watched with a growing sense of unease, a growing sense of concern. Something unusual was happening in the north. A kingdom that should have remained a minor player was becoming a dominant force, and at the center of that transformation stood Philip, builder, reformer, visionary, the man constructing the army that would alter the course of history. But Philip, he didn't invent these ideas in isolation. No, many of the concepts that inspired his revolution came from another military genius, a man whose victories shattered the most feared warriors in Greece, a man who proved that even Sparta could be defeated. His name was Epaminondas, and without him, there may never have been a Macedonian empire. There are moments in history when the world changes suddenly, not gradually, not over generations, but in a single afternoon, a single decision, a single battle. For centuries, Sparta had been the dominant military power in Greece. The warriors were feared, the reputation unmatched, the citizens raised from childhood for war. Entire generations grew up believing that the Spartans were invincible. Then one man proved that they weren't. His name was Epaminondas, and without him, there might never have been an Alexander the Great. To understand why he mattered so much, we must understand what Sparta represented. See, the Spartans were not simply another Greek city-state. They were a military institution, the benchmark against which every other military measured itself. If Sparta marched to war, opponents expected defeat. Not because the Spartan soldiers were superhuman or possessed supernatural abilities, but because generations of discipline, training, and experience had created an aura of inevitability around them. Sparta won because Sparta was Sparta. At least that was the belief. This was all the case until Leuctra occurred. To set the scene, the year was 371 BC. The Spartans marched against Thebes. On paper, the outcome seemed predictable. Sparta possessed a stronger reputation, a stronger tradition, a stronger confidence. The Thebans faced an opponent many considered unbeatable. Yet, Epaminondas saw something others missed. The Spartans were not invincible. They were predictable. And predictable enemies can be defeated. They can be broken. For generations, Greek warfare followed conventions. Not laws, not rules written on stone tablets, but customs, expectations, and assumptions. The battlefield possessed its own traditions, and everyone followed them. Everyone except Epaminondas. Most Greek armies placed their strongest troops on the right flank. It was simply how things were done. Most formations maintained similar depths across their line. Again, tradition. Most generals sought straightforward confrontations, predictable engagements, predictable outcomes. Epaminondas looked at these conventions and asked the dangerous question: what if they were wrong? At Leuctra, he shattered centuries of military tradition. Instead of strengthening his right flank, he strengthened his left. Instead of marching Spartan formations or matching their formations also, he deepened his own to extraordinary levels. Instead of fighting evenly across the battlefield, he concentrated overwhelming force against a single point. The result resembled less a battle line and more a hammer, a massive concentration of troops designed to smash directly into Sparta's elite warriors. At the center of this hammer stood one of the most famous military units in ancient history, the Sacred Band of Thebes. 300 professional soldiers, highly trained, highly disciplined, bound together by loyalty, friendship, and according to many sources, romantic partnership. Yes, the Thebans believed warriors fought harder beside those that they loved. Whether this was true or not, the Sacred Band developed a fearsome reputation. And on the field of Leuctra, they would change history. When the battle began, Epaminondas' formation surged forward. The concentrated weight of his army crashed into the Spartan ranks. The impact was devastating. The traditional balance of Greek warfare collapsed. Spartan formations broke. Hundreds of elite Spartan warriors died. Even the Spartan king himself fell. For the first time in generations, the myth of Spartan invincibility shattered. The consequences extended far beyond the single battlefield. Sparta's dominance began to decline. It began to wane. Thebes itself briefly rose to prominence from this victory, and every military thinker in Greece absorbed the same lesson from it. The old rules no longer applied. Innovation could defeat tradition. Adaptation could defeat reputation. Vision could defeat legacy. Among those paying attention was Philip himself, and he learned everything. Whether Philip directly studied under Epaminondas remains debated and misunderstood. But what cannot be debated is the influence of that battle. The ideas that transformed Theban warfare soon appeared in Macedonian warfare. Concentration of force, combined arms tactics, flexible battlefield formations, the willingness to break convention. Philip absorbed all these lessons and pushed them further, far further. Where Epaminondas created the blueprint, Philip built the machine. The pike phalanx, the companion cavalry, the professionalization of the army, the integration of multiple troop types into a single coordinated system. Everything worked together. Everything supported everything else. No wasted movement, no wasted potential. Every component designed for victory. Soon Macedonia possessed something unprecedented. Not merely excellent soldiers, not merely excellent cavalry, not merely excellent generals, but an entire military ecosystem, a battlefield organism capable of adapting to almost any challenge. If enemies advanced aggressively, the phalanx stopped them. If enemies exposed their flanks, the cavalry destroyed them. If enemies hid behind their walls, Philip's engineers brought siege weapons. No matter the obstacle, Macedonia found a solution. Macedonia found a way. See, this can be said to be the true secret of Macedonian power. Not one weapon, not one formation, not even one man. It was the combination, the fusion of innovation, discipline, and leadership into something greater than the sum of its parts. And by the time Philip finished his work, there was no army in Greece capable of matching it. Perhaps no army anywhere in the world. Yet, even with all this, history can be cruel. Because, see, even though Philip would spend years building this extraordinary machine, only to ultimately watch someone else become famous for using it. That someone else was his son, Alexander. See, when people imagine Alexander's conquests, they often picture a lone genius marching across Asia. But history is really that simple. See, Alexander inherited a lot of advantages few conquerors ever possess. A unified kingdom, a stable government, experienced officers, veteran soldiers, the finest cavalry in the world, the most advanced military system of its age. Philip built all of it. Alexander inherited all of it. Now, of course, inheritance alone does not create legends. We've seen many a successor fail when given the keys to the power of their predecessors. Many princes inherit powerful kingdoms. Few conquer the known world. Alexander would soon prove that he possessed the qualities that his father could never have predicted. Charisma, audacity, a willingness to gamble everything on impossible victories. The army gave him the opportunity, his ambition would provide the rest. And so the stage was set. The kingdom was ready, the army was ready, the dream was ready. Beyond the Aegean Sea waited the Persian Empire, the then greatest superpower on earth, an empire stretching across entire continents, an empire that had humbled kings and crushed rebellions for centuries, an empire that believed itself nigh untouchable. Soon it would face the greatest army of the ancient world, led by the most ambitious man of his generation, and history would never be the same. In our next episode, the young king ascends the throne. Philip is dead. Alexander inherits a kingdom on the brink of chaos. Many expect the empire to collapse. Instead, the conquest of the world begins. This has been A Slice of History.